Record on this computer. Okay.
I put it on.
Sorry.
It's perfect time.
That's how we start the video.
That's perfect. All right, welcome everybody. We were just mentioning Kim is absent this meeting. She's in Italy, and Scott is also absent. He's in Japan. So
And neither one of them is logging in to the.
shocking,
Wow.
isn't it? I know. We do still have a quorum though, so we can do a few of our official business items.
Did you send out a packet? It's in the Google Drive.
Yeah, Google Drive. Oh,
And
are you on?
When
Sarah, is Deborah on the email chain now?
get the Google Drive stuff.
I thought so, but it's possible
All
you
right.
have an email that starts August SNO, there's the Google Drive.
No, I don't think I saw.
Oh,
that.
sorry, okay, I will forward it to you. Want it now or no, just
Do you have
after?
a print, you don't have a print out?
I have, there's a printout of the agenda.
Yeah, you got the agenda and then
Right.
here's the minutes from the last.
Okay.
meeting.
Apologies for that.
I could swear I had it on there. Let me check it.
Also, I've been, did you send it out these last 2 days?
No, it
Yours
needs
goes
to go
out 2
out
weeks ago.
almost 2 weeks ago, because it's gotta be a week in advance, because the reports are due a week before, so it's a week before that, so.
Okay. It might be me, or it might have gone to junk.
I can tell
Good.
you in a second.
And we should, I'll double check when Kim's back, but I asked Kim to add you to the Google group so that you're in there for access to everything.
I figured out how to access it through Google Group, I just,
Get that, yeah.
I just.
Yeah, I just
Get
wait
the
for
link.
Sarah.
I just say for
Yeah.
email.
That's what I do too.
And then download.
And then.
I
leave
tried
my
to find
computer
it.
at home when I talk.
It wasn't
Okay.
great.
All right, so let's go ahead and get it. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, in a second. Okay, Patty, and all in favor?
Okay.
Okay. And then we have the July minutes to approve. So can we get a motion to,
That's the
Yeah,
minutes.
so I just, yeah.
Yeah.
They look very sharp,
Yeah, I'm going to look at it briefly.
I'll move to adopt the July minutes.
okay, and do we have a second?
Second,
Richard, thank you. And then does anybody have any
You're on.
comments?
You're on it, Deborah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
check it.
It, Friday, August 4th.
Wow, okay, sorry.
That's it.
took me a while to figure it out.
Any comments, questions? People need another minute, take your time. If anybody needs a copy. I've got one here from my packet.
I read
All in favor, are we ready? Okay, okay,
What is it, the minutes?
yes, minutes.
Sorry, who made a motion to adopt?
Me, and then Richard.
I second.
Second.
I was looking for the,
Yep.
whatever I had,
Mhm.
right.
I got it. It was embedded in 2 other.
Oh, believe me, I know.
Emails from that.
Oh, she's, yeah, queen of the thread email problems.
All kinds of problems.
I immediately copy it, put it on my desktop, so it's just right there.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
Otherwise I'll never find it, and my computer deletes emails just for fun.
Yeah, mine seems to do that now too.
I think if it has a calendar, if it has a calendar event in it, it will delete it. for some
Really?
reason.
Wow.
So I sent you like, here's how I leave my house, and then it says, has been unsent. I'm like, why? Why?
I
So
can-
I sent it again.
Oh, I didn't get this
And when
email.
I
I got
sent it, I was like,
That's
that's look at that, there's this little undue.
All right. All right, technical problems aside. Everybody. So next on the agenda is our planning calendar. So a couple things to review there. So we are in August. We have the construction grant deadline approaching. Kim is not here to give a full update. We can, but might as well just mention it here. So she has been working with Tim and with thanks, Paul. Right out of my head. Paul, to put together all of the necessary items for that. So that is well underway. I don't think we will have an issue with that deadline, and that is 100% thanks to Kim. We have on here a note that this is when we'll start our annual appeal planning. So Deborah, I know you are already starting to have some thoughts about that and the timing of that and all of how we're going to approach that. So
Yes, I have, money for Kim to get back and talk about who it's gonna be from.
okay, yeah. So we're good on that. And then this is also when we have to think about our proposal for camp budget, and we'll talk a little bit more detail about that, some of the camp issues in the youth committee report. Upcoming in September, we have another trustee training, the UHLS core trustee training. Deborah, that might be of interest to you to sign up for. I'll see if.
That's the same as the one on the 24th.
No, that one's different. That is for the preparing for challenges. So the regular core trustee training. I'll see if I have that registration link, Deborah.
You have to get a training every year. Now, I took the core trustee training last year. Do I take it again this year?
You can,
Or
you don't
I
have
took
to.
some other-
Or you can.
Yeah, so I think we covered our training this year by doing the session in-house
Right,
with everybody.
right, I didn't
but-
need to do
Right, yeah, so, but yeah, you're welcome to take it again, because it is a good,
Right.
it's worth refreshing, or I think if you go to any of the other,
that. Ones that.
Yeah.
counts.
And there is
Yeah.
that one on the 24th on
yes,
preparing for a challenge, but it's at Nebraska.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and it's weird when you
Are you
register.
going? Ken?
Yeah, I think I'm
It's
going.
weird when you register, they just ask
Yeah,
for your
that's-
email and that's ask for your name and your email. And that's when you register, that's what opens up. And then they send you an email back saying, this is what you told us. And I don't have anything like, congratulations, you're registered.
You're actually registered. Okay.
Yeah, about the exact
But,
same thing.
yeah, but the fact that they sent that back to you means this is what we have in our records, that you're registered for it here.
I mean, I guess I'm reading.
That's all.
Oh, like confirmation, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, weird, okay, whatever, but and it's on Essex Street, I think.
Is the core trustee training Zoom?
Virtual, yeah, that's virtual. Yep, so for the 24th, we've got Kim McMahon, Sarah, and Richard going to that. Thank you guys for doing that. We'll plan to have a time during the September meeting for you guys to give us a briefing, a book report, such. So in September also, we have that they're doing the expedition party. I think Kim is trying to attend that. So for everybody who completed or participated in the expedition, and I'm hoping that we might have an opportunity to see if there's people who from Stephentown who participated who maybe there are people who might be interested in the board or being involved in some more way if they're dedicated enough to go do the expedition. You know, it seems like library.
That's a good idea.
So I mentioned that to Kim. We're also going to be doing our strategic plan preparation so that we have that ready to review. And Halloween party planning coming up. So September's, August, September would be pretty busy months. As the end of the year activity starts to come into our sites. We also, well, I don't know where we should talk about this. So we had 2 new ideas come up for events. They're sort of more programs, I guess. So we probably don't need to talk about it in this. This one, talk about it later. Okay. Anything else we need to have on the planning calendar on our minds?
So the core training on the 13th. We already done that?
You've already,
Yeah,
you've already done it.
I was here with the 2 speakers, the 1 speaker.
No, that was different,
Yeah.
but you've done the core before, I think, didn't you?
It was a Zoom thing and it really talks a lot about the role of the trustee versus the role of the director and ask
okay.
questions as to who should be making the decision in this situation, just a refresher.
So that's like a Zoom presentation on the 13th.
Yes, uh-huh,
I think I did it, but I'd have to.
okay, I think I have it,
What is
I have it
what-
tracked as well,
Thursday or?
not sure.
I
September?
think that
Yeah.
when Patty and I did it, you weren't on the board yet.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, so
So-
maybe you
The
did,
13th
okay.
is a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Right?
Yeah, it was last summer.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
What's our board meeting date in September?
I
It's
you need to send me.
21st.
Okay.
The third Thursday.
Unless you're my Google Calendar,
Okay,
then it's the second.
so I'm gonna send the core trustee training to Deborah and Richard,
Thank you.
and then we've got the other training on the 24th. And I'm trying to track what people do, so I'll just make sure that I add those to everybody's tracking document, so we have that in there. Okay. On to the director's report. So Kim's not here, but she did send out her report. We'll just touch on some highlights. So quite a bit coming up through the end of the month and into September with end of summer reading. We have, we also have the blood drive next week. On Saturday, we have the drum to the beat with Oath of the Day, which has been popular in the past. So hopefully we'll get some people turning out for that. So quite a few things coming up in the next 2 weeks and then in the next month. And then it looks like in terms of the programs that were held, some really good attendance numbers. If you're glancing down, library time with summer camp, we had 27 people attending with kids and teens. When you're looking at the beekeeper program, 17 adults, 2 teens, 3 kids. The fire department story time, there were so many kids, 21 kids, it was great. The brunch, we had 50 adults, we'll talk more about that. Mahjong it looks like it's doing well. The Dungeons and Dragons with 17 teens, and regular story time, 8 to 12 kids. So really, really some nice numbers there. Circulation looks like holding steady there. Visits, you can see the visits remain up in summer. The collection, everybody can read that themselves. So in terms of updates from previous meetings, it looks like Kim met with T-Mobile, and we are going to get the one tablet to put into circulation. So that's good. We had talked about that, I think about 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. So we'll give that a try, see how that goes. What else do we have here? Oh yeah, so for the veterans, so the update from the previous meeting, so they did agree to have the sculpture hosted here at the library, and they will do an unveiling event. So they didn't want to do that with the brunch, which I think was right decision. And there's a Wreaths Across America program coming in September. They're going to be doing a program at each school at New Lebanon and Berlin, and then an event at the Veterans Park itself. So they'll tie it into that. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. So in terms of the expedition, the total number is 490 expeditioners visited
Wow.
in July.
Amazing.
So the total,
No, it's just
Over
in July.
1,000.
That was just in
Yeah.
July.
total over 1,000. It's amazing.
Amazing.
The other update you'll see here is there was a leak in the furnace, so it was related to a pump, so that has been fixed, but the room did have quite a bit of dampness in there. We're gonna have to look at possible damage after it's dried out.
And that's the room in the back by the,
Yes, behind the little
yeah.
play nook thing. So there's. I think the good news about that was that when Kim talked to John Laporta, he was able to talk to her about heat pumps as well. And I think something else too, it's escaping my mind right now. But anyway, it was kind of a fortuitous thing, yeah, to kind of get connected to him. So that was good. So anybody have any questions or comments on Kim's report? Kim is really doing, shame she's not here to say this, but I do tell her, I mean, she's really doing a great job. There's so much going on right now, and she's really juggling a lot, and keeping it all moving and keeping the priorities. I'm not always sure how she's doing it. I think she's
No,
putting in a
either.
lot of extra hours.
And also getting great reviews on the programming she's doing with Logan out at other places.
Yeah, they seem to have had some good programs at other libraries and
Mhm.
other venues, so, yeah. Okie dokie, Richard, treasurer's report.
Got the deposit accounts and the. Profit and loss to the end of, or to the middle of August. Just a note on the deposit accounts. I had to transfer money from the money market into the business or checking so I could pay off $2,500 on the loan accounts. And I did that after I printed this out.
Oh, okay.
So that was just a totally internal thing, because there wasn't enough money in the business original checking account to pay off the credit card balance. So I went ahead and transferred it in there and then paid it out of there, just because I think that's what Kim would want me to do.
Yeah.
So she wants all the bills to be paid out of the business or checking account.
Yep.
And then the money market is the one that we feed into there. So, expenses, we're at about 80,000 for the year, and this being August, that's 8 out of 12, that's kind of about right. The program expense, of course, kicked up because of the camp, et cetera, and programs. But we're still doing very well. Income, we're short, of course, from the annual appeal letter. We've got 10,000 there that we hope to bring in. And then there's another 3,500 as well, so we'll have to see what we can do on that.
So, yeah, so those,
Income is,
Yeah.
basically, income is budgeted 15,000, and we've only taken about 5,100. Or that's the annual appeal letter, and that's what we hope that Deborah will be able to help us get that more in line with what we hope to collect.
yeah, and we know that always skews to the end of the year,
Yeah.
and then we have that weird, when the stuff pops up, yeah.
You know,
It's, and we have things that trail in afterwards, and at a certain point, it becomes unclear whether, like, when we get to March and things like that, when we are tracking it separately, is it still annual appeal, or, does it count as annual appeal if it came in the envelope, or at what point do we say, is it just a general donation and such, so. Yeah, you can advise on.
Where are we with the spring appeal and that?
So, yeah, where are we at here? So unfortunately, to date, I know, although to date was when this was written, so a week ago, was $485. I have not sent out the email, the second email yet, which was slated for this week. And then we were gonna do a final email in September. We've only done one set of the social media posts. It was in the last newsletter, I believe. So I think the last newsletter was what brought in 2 of the donations online. And we are also counting any of the cash donations and like 2 of Scott's bowls sold at the brunch. So that will be counted towards that as well. So those things will be coming in. So we do need to do a little bit more promotion around this.
What's the deadline on that? Is there?
20, so the end of summer, which is the 21st, yeah,
It was $60 from Scott Falls, right?
correct, yeah.
Have we thought about like, I've seen it before where they collect like a little thermostat thing and because I'm notoriously bad about not reading emails, and I suspect a lot of other people are also notoriously bad about it. But if they were to just wander into the library
And
and
see
see
that.
that and see what's that all about, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see any advertising for that anywhere in the.
There's a sign.
There's a couple signs, yeah, and there's a right by the, yeah. Yeah.
Not saying here's our goal and here's our.
Yeah.
A mnemonic that's really easy to
Just kind of.
grasp.
I think that's a great idea,
Okay.
a good visual.
Yep.
My only concern running this through the end of September is whether it'll cannibalize people's generous spirits for the holidays, right? If they
Right.
just gave at the end of September and you're asking them, hopefully in November, what's the effect
I
on
think
it?
this is a matching grant, people might look at it a little differently. This is a kind of out there donation that someone's agreed to match dollar for
I
dollar.
don't know, I know.
Is that, I understand that correctly?
Yeah, correct. And that's why we didn't, initially, the first email that went out did not go to, it only went to people who have not donated before and people who donated, either 20, under $50, I believe. Which is why it wasn't necessarily a great success, but it was that concern. I don't necessarily wanna hit up big donors
Right.
who are who would donate later. I was trying to hope that we would attract people who, new people or people who might be like, oh, well, I only can donate this much, but that it's double that, so it makes it feel more worthwhile donating. So, but yeah, we need, I mean, I'm very open to ideas, because so far, yeah, I would like to have seen it do better, so.
Right.
But I have the same fear, because we have a stretch goal this year with our annual appeal.
Yeah. It's, I mean, September tends to be a time when you're sending out, newsletter, information. Certainly, I mean. The good thing, I love this idea about the thermometer, because there's a reason why people use them, and that it's such an effective visual to show how campaign is doing.
Like a little box there and see somebody, you don't have to write a check.
Right, just drop your-
$5 bill.
Right,
Right,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. But also because now. This library is so associated with kids and it's the start of school,
mhm,
so. If we did this coming into September, like right after Labor Day. And maybe somehow show pictures of, like, there's some great pictures of the kids in the fair.
right.
Do some sort of display that really highlights kids, it's back to school,
Mhm, yeah,
something,
yeah.
would be good.
The other thing is we're pretty lackadaisical on this, and in terms of during programs, having the donation out there. I think at different times we've done that a little bit more of being obvious about, like, here's the,
Well, live at the library and it just
Right.
didn't net us much. which
No,
is kind of
'cause there was-
surprising.
there were so
That
few
seemed like-
people, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even when there were more people. It
Yeah.
wasn't too.
But we have a couple of big programs coming up where we could try to
Yeah.
have a little bit more of whether it's just because we're doing the
Yeah,
display that's.
Nobody walk around.
And if you develop
Uh-huh.
that visual thing and put it on, make it so that it can go on a table that rolls or something like that, you can
Right.
have it at
Each
your.
event, yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we better get that put together pretty quickly, though, if it ends in a month.
yeah, I know, we gotta do it right away. Well, yeah.
Who does this?
I could try
We
to do
do.
it.
Okay,
The thing is, one side of it is obviously changing, so it has to be something that.
Well,
can be-
a lot of times what they do is they fill it in like that.
Yeah.
Like every other day, you just fill it in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
think we could do it hand, that part could be hand drawn.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's not,
Or you would take red construction paper and just,
layer it in,
move
yeah.
on.
But
Yeah.
Normally, once I've seen it, they just
Yeah,
fill
they
it in
just-
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, so Sarah,
Mhm.
Sure.
thank you very much.
Wait till you see it, where you think.
There's also, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
They do have them made on Amazon.
Oh,
you know,
Amazon.
And
love
I know
Amazon.
we don't necessarily need to, but I would be happy to donate. And buy one, it's like a dry erase thing, and then we would have it for further.
Oh, that's not a
ones.
bad idea.
Oh,
That's a really good.
And I
idea.
wouldn't, I would be happy to buy it
That's
to donate,
great.
cause then we would just
Reuse it.
have it.
All
and I
right,
think
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so I'll just order this one
Extra
right
for me.
away.
And
thank you, Ari.
You're welcome. It's $20.
Oh.
That's,
How
ask if they'll match it.
big is it?
I'll show you the picture of the woman next to it for scale. Oops.
Oh, cool.
It's
Oh,
big.
yeah.
Oops, I just lost it, but it's big,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
so I'll order that.
Some photos of the kids and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
hooray for
Okay.
Amazon and hooray for Ari, thank you.
Sweet, I'll have it delivered here.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Do you know Jeff Bezos too?
Yeah, he's my uncle. That's why I'm here.
All right, so we kind of transitioned from treasurer's report into fundraising, but did anybody have any other specific questions or concerns with the actual treasurer's report? Any of the items?
No.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna just skip, since we're on the subject of fundraising, I'll just give you the couple other updates on that. So as the pop-up merchandise shop, which has not been like hugely successful for us, but has done okay, and it's at this point of having not much work to do it.
Mhm.
We've had a couple people say they're interested, as people have seen people wearing t-shirts and things like that. It's like, oh, I'd like to get a t-shirt. Oh, can't believe I didn't get a t-shirt last time. So we might want to consider doing it again, maybe ahead of the holidays, in such a way that people could pick them up during the holiday market. So we would just have to get that started probably soon, if that's 8 weeks out or
Okay.
something, so. But if,
Any thoughts on volume and what we want this time, like sweatshirts, t-shirts?
I guess we should probably just look at what sold well before,
Okay,
and see if we can, if we want to make any tweaks to that, but,
okay,
I think it seemed like people were mostly interested in the t-shirt options.
So you're buying them?
No,
No, you're ordering as you need.
yep, yes, yeah, no, we've been down that road. I mean, it's that trade-off is then when people say, oh, I want a shirt, you can't
Right.
give it to them, but.
No.
and
Uh,
the goal timing wise for having them available is around like Thanksgiving time?
Yeah, pick up the weekend of Thanksgiving.
So people may be more interested in the warmer stuff because of the time of year.
True, yeah, and we might, I don't think,
T-shirt instead of a short shirt.
yeah, or in addition,
Or a
yeah,
sweatshirt or
yeah,
something.
Did we get kids stuff last time? We didn't get any kids sizes, did we?
No,
no, do you think there would be interest?
I don't know, like, I don't know that I would buy myself a shirt, and I don't know I'd buy my husband one, but I'd probably buy the kids one. But I don't know if other
Uh-huh.
people would feel the same. I was just curious, because I couldn't remember if we did.
I mean, I don't think there's any downside, right, because it all counts towards, all of the clothing counts towards the minimum, right, that we have to
Yeah.
do, so.
yeah,
Because like you said, there's lots of, kids, story
Yeah.
time and all that.
Yeah.
People might be.
Yeah,
okay, I will inquire with Bex about that.
thank you, Sarah.
Have you ever? This is a weird thing that dawned on me. Because I was writing SML, and of course, which looks like smile.
Oh,
And so you could do like a kid's t-shirt or something.
huh,
Yeah, where you take the SML and do a graphic so
Uh-huh.
that you see the word, smile if you love, SML or something like that.
I don't think Smile has ever come up before when we talked
That's
about it.
interesting.
But I know that Kim is very interested, Kim and Logan have been very interested in developing a kids version of
Mhm.
our logo, which
Mhm.
would play into that idea.
Right.
Um,
She could also do simile, but you know.
That's
But like you could do like kid shirts
Uh-huh.
or if you're not ordering in quantity,
right,
then.
we would have to have it, that,
That'd
a
be
new
consistent with
logo and a new
Yeah.
graphic design done.
Design,
Yeah.
I think you still.
I mean, not
need your
logo, but yeah, I
but
mean,
have it designed.
Design, in other words, that would be the additional, that would be a
That would
new
be an
setup
additional
charge,
cost because
For the setup.
right,
Yes.
yeah.
Because we already.
Also, it's the beginning of the school year, and he's working on a third book. Might not be the best time to ask Logan. to
Right, yeah.
Create something really fast.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but
mean-
I think it's something to put in the
Yeah.
hopper of
Yeah, it's just an
ideas,
idea.
yeah.
You know,
It
so much
never
an
occurred to me
idea.
the SML smile thing.
Okay,
That's pretty exciting.
uh-huh,
We'll see.
okay,
I think you should consider that Logan is Kim's husband. And like, we don't wanna step on his toes.
No, no,
Right,
I
right,
love it.
yeah.
But if he doesn't have time, you know, he can give somebody else the font that he's using and that and incorporate it, cause I think you should still put that logo
Yeah,
on.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Let's start with.
Yeah, it'd be great if he could
Kim's
design
things.
it.
Yeah.
I honestly
Looks
never,
like it.
never saw that.
Even when you were saying SML, I'm like, where is she going with this SML? What does that make?
Small, medium, large. t-shirts.
I had just written that down,
Yeah,
and I saw a smile.
yeah, cool. I like it. This is why. The other item is just in terms of the holiday market, we should start like now, soliciting the vendors and promoting it. People have already asked us about it, so we know that there's some interest. I can make an effort on Saturday to talk to the vendors at the car show. There'll be some overlap there, and I'll see who's over at Forfeit Fowl. I'll take, and then we can, I'll email the group and all that kind of stuff, but put it on Facebook. Yada, yada.
Is the car show at 4 Fowl or was it over by 100
At
No,
the
it's
fire
there.
hall.
at the
Fire.
fire hall?
Yeah.
Has Gardner's done their once a month show this year?
They have, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've seen it a couple times. I'm not sure if they've
They
got
had a Corvette show earlier this time. Well, it might have gotten rained down.
Could have been, yeah, I know, that's, yeah.
Saturday, it's supposed to be the next one.
The last one, last update is just so, and I'm sorry, Richard, I'm sure you're like, what is her problem? I remain delinquent on completing, on the Elio. I actually have completed the QA. I have gone through all the records. I have made the corrections of the stuff I messed up. I've done part of the manual entries and I'm waiting for Kim on the report for the other non-annual appeal entries that I'm gonna make in there. So, I apologize. I really wanted to work on this. Faster.
How many, I mean, so you're populating your contacts from your, mailing list,
Yeah, so the contacts are in.
all they're in.
They're all in. I think they're all correct now. I probably need to do one final double check of the people who are married who have different names.
Well, yeah, I mean,
That are-
when you import, there's always.
Yeah, and then, I think I saw that there was 2 duplicates that didn't get identified when they did the upload.
Yeah.
that I noticed. So I want to merge those. And then it's the adding the gifts of the,
Right.
and then there's a few things, and we can talk about this as a group afterwards, once we sort of get our hands on this, but there was a few categories I made of different things, like, obvious ones, board members, former board members, employees. I did scholarship winners and scholarship families, because I was like, that might be something nice to reach out to. So we can, and I probably want to do a category for like our vendors. So we have those identified. But then we might want to see if there's other ways that we want to identify people or track things. So slow progress, apologies.
Well, you got most of the contacts and that's a good start.
Yeah,
Now it's
Yeah.
kind of creating templates. So that's.
which is a whole nother, right, the
that's a
next,
whole other issue.
yeah. And I know that you've got experience in all of that, so we will,
I have been able to play with existing templates because I had to change a lot of them over
okay,
because they were like COVID, sensitive, so we had to kind of get rid of that.
okay,
There was a matching grant from GE that we got rid of, because GE doesn't live there anymore. So a few things we had to change,
okay,
but I'm okay if there's a template in there, I'm fine playing with it.
playing with it, okay,
We can figure it out.
we will play.
Did you
Okay.
cover major projects or you?
No,
going
I
back
jumped
to
over,
major
I'm gonna go
projects?
back,
Okay.
yeah. So major projects, there actually is not a big update, just that, as I mentioned, Kim is working with Paul and Tim Burke to prepare the grant application. And she's confident that we'll have that ready on time. She's really taken this on entirely herself. She has not asked for any help for any of us to prepare anything. I think Paul's been helping with that as well. And Richard, do you know, did we pay Paul yet? I know we received an invoice, so.
I didn't see you, and she probably did pay Paul, I think I.
Or did
didn't
we
check.
rob Peter?
Um,
I would have to look at QuickBooks to see, but I did, I'm pretty sure Kim would have done it before.
Yeah, no worries, one way, I just mentioning that, you know, we are receiving an invoice for work done at this point. So that's moving, and then we'll need to figure out if we need the grant work that we need to, application for the T-Mobile community part of that. So when Kim is back, we'll touch base on all of those things.
Professional services, we did pay $1,100, would that be enough?
It almost seems like it's not enough, but maybe it is.
Maybe it's a partial. payment.
Yeah.
That's professional services that we paid for, yeah, 3,000 annual with 1,155 was paid.
It could be. I don't know what else we would
That's
have
the
paid
only
at this
thing I
point.
can think
Yeah,
of, that's the only place it would be, right?
I think, I don't, yeah, I'm not sure. We'll talk to Kim when she's
No
back.
problem. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
she'll know pretty quick. Once she cools down from.
She may have held it as well to pay after we,
Yeah,
do the application or something. but- Okay, Brandon marketing.
Yeah, so I think a number of people, if not most of the people here, were at the second new resident brunch, which I think was a really big success. We had 50 adult attendees and lots of expressed enthusiasm both in the room, and I sent out a survey follow up, and people had really nothing to say in that as well. So I'm going to write a report about that, but I mean, it's small, just a brief little update on what people had to say. And an idea was raised with Deborah, or through Deborah, to have potentially for local musicians jam sessions at the library. And so I asked a question about interest in that, and we'll try to follow up with that regardless of whether we get too many responses in the survey. So that's cool.
Just two other things on that. So Alan from Historical Society, they made over $200 there, so they were very happy. Plus they seem to talk to a lot of people.
Yeah,
I think
they
they
did.
had like 3 signups for their road challenge. People took flyers, and then the food pantry has gotten three or 4 new volunteers
volunteers, yeah.
through this.
Yeah, just from that one day.
Yeah, and I know there were several people who expressed interest in the fire department. It hasn't come through as applications yet. So I think it was
Yeah.
successful for that as well. So, and I know that it looked like Dennis and Diana were talking to quite a few
Yeah,
people
they
on the
might be
veteran side.
interested.
So it seemed like there was, you know, everybody got
It
people to
felt like
talk
there
to.
was a lot more, and I thought the first one was really good, but it did feel like there was a lot more cross pollination with the organizations. And
Mhm.
maybe that's because of the way we had it set up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
The flow was really
Yeah, it
good.
was
Yeah.
good, and,
Yeah.
and the last time people were in that back room and they didn't really get that they could get up and just sort of mingle and.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that was really good. I also am planning, unless we think otherwise, to work on a survey to gauge interest in Deborah's idea about encouraging people who now, because of COVID, are working from home instead of working in their offices. A lot of people moved here as a result of COVID and just stayed, to see if they would be interested in working 1 day a week in the library instead of at home, to sort of assuage isolation and get people more engaged with the library and more aware of all the stuff that we do. So I'll put something together with that. Sent out a press release to all of our contacts on the new resident brunch. I did not include any of the photos because they look kind of
Yeah,
like, that doesn't look that much fun. I don't know why, but it looked kind of sparsely populated in the photos. So I didn't include
It
those.
didn't feel that way.
No, it
I'm
didn't
really
feel
proud
that
of them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It felt really good. somebody said that we should have more than just cream cheese, because we don't like cream cheese.
Oh my
Wow, all right, well. Yeah, well, Sarah, I don't like cream cheese, okay. No, just kidding.
You would-
What
Yeah,
would you? what
I
would it
mean,
be?
butter. Yeah, I, last time we had butter, I know it didn't occur to me, but I forgot about the butter, because I like me some cream cheese.
And Sarah, thank you for your donation of the
Oh.
bagels for the event.
The fruit salad idea. I really like that
Yeah,
too.
well, yeah, that was
really
nice.
good. Did I miss something? Was there a moment when? No, there was, never mind.
What?
I take it back. No, it just all came pouring. in. Never mind.
Then just a couple other marketing related things, spoke with Kim and she said the website still needs to be updated with staff bios specifically. And we need your photograph, for the trustee section, and Rebecca needs to be removed.
I'm supposed to sign something to come too. I'm sorry. Right.
Yeah, send a little bio, yeah, and we'll need to take your, did you just say take your picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's
it for me.
Thank you. Any,
I wanna just go back for 1 second, because I just opened all this stuff up on my phone.
yeah,
The annual appeal you have for December.
on the calendar,
Yeah,
yeah, sorry, I didn't update it on the calendar, I guess, yeah, I mentioned
I
it
would
on
highly recommend
November, right,
begin like November 6th through 10th.
6 through 10, okay.
Yeah, and then doing some sort of follow-up in December. Like between the 6th and 15th, something like that.
Mhm.
You wanna get out ahead of it, or
Yep.
you're competing against all of the organizations, that other people give to,
Yep,
so.
And people spending money on gifts and stuff for their family, so that they're just not feeling as generous.
Right, exactly, and actually, like, a lot of people talk about. Where they might wanna get it at Thanksgiving when they're with family, so I think we wanna get out ahead of that and then do like a postcard follow-up. That
the
shows,
impact of it.
yeah, impact, like how many books and in December,
And you said December,
I don't know, 6th or 15th, somewhere in there, like before Christmas.
okay, I'll update that on the calendar. Thank you. Building and grounds, I was just mentioning that the door hole, hole in the door, needs to be repaired. There's decking issues, there are stair issues, the entrance stairs are, you may have felt it as you walked up, and also someone in the book group brought up that the railings are loose again, and I know we've had a lot of problems with those railings, it seems to me in my memory. So we've got repairs that we're gonna need to do, spend some of that building maintenance money, because they are kind of safety issues.
Did you even build a deck that also goes around to the back of the building? Did somebody mention that?
Yeah, that was something that we were talking about with Paul Mays having a.
That
an
direction, yeah.
Additional deck that is covered that we could use for theater and musical events.
There's some grants that you could apply for. That would cover the cost of that, something like that, if you were building a deck, like Sarah just said, that's used by. Patrons, kids, have performances, whatever, there are some grants that I've written down that.
Okay, can you, yeah, if you can share them, because we also are trying to tie that into the larger grant process,
Okay.
because if we can get grants that then can count as part of our match, it help us.
Okay.
Do the overall,
You may have looked at some of them, but I'll send what I know.
thank you,
Okay,
yeah,
sorry, you did some.
yeah,
Okay.
please do.
Okay.
Recruitment, so the library also had a potential new board member from the Welcome Brunch, Karen Volpe, who is she might try to attend, she was going to either try to attend tonight or another one and see, but she was very keen on, I guess she had been thinking about the library, and so we have that potential. Does somebody else have someone else they were mentioning? Oh, no, okay, that was, yeah, I think it was Vicky who, even before the welcome brunch, had said Karen might be interested, so that's what it was, yeah.
Karen doing, like, she young?
She works at, she is probably around my age, so young. She works at Darrow School. Yeah, and she's very community oriented, community minded. She used to be in the Chatham area. Then does a lot of volunteer work with the church organization. She's a member of the fire department. She has been a member of the fire department at Canaan. So very community spirited. Okay, any other recruitment? Youth. The youth, sorry, the youth.
I don't have, I didn't have a very lengthy report. I'm also waiting for Kim to come back. She's gonna be so tired, but to have a wrap up, we have some, Jessica has given her notes. But we need to finalize how, how much we spent and all of that, and then start working on the budget for next year, or budget proposal rather. But I believe we're a little bit under budget, so that's good. Were you gonna say something?
Okay, keep going.
Just Jessica mentioned the flooding, which we all are aware of, but she also, when they did a field trip to Cherry Plain, and it occurred to her while she was there, she said, I wonder if we could do camp here. Grafton does their camp, or Grafton, the town, I guess, does the town. Anyways, she just brought up the idea. I don't know if, I don't really know if the camp has to be at the library. But I just thought I would mention it, that's what she was saying.
Yeah, I think,
If we work with the state to get that approved. This is state park, right?
Cherry Plain, yeah,
Yeah.
As a graphic for that.
yeah, I don't know who they work with to do that.
Same contract for both.
I think we need to have, I think we need to plan to go to the, what are we in, the August, September workshop meeting. And talk to the town board about the challenges,
Yeah.
because I think we need their help to solve the flooding issue if we're going to have camp stay here. We have a lot of advantages to having the camp here in terms of our own public perception and all of that kind of stuff. We also have some challenges with that, and I had talked to Kim a little bit about, do we need to increase our fee for hosting it here, because having something like a bigger cleaning at the end and some things like that. I mean, this floor takes a beating, and that's, a lot of it is camp. I mean, they did a good job of cleaning up, and they did a great job of all that, but it takes its toll. Same with the deck. I mean, that's all of those things are things that are because of camp. And I think, again, I think there's a lot of reasons it's really good to have it here, but I think we need some help if we're going to continue to do that. So I think having a conversation with the town board, I think after we have some of our budget numbers together, after we have our regrouping, and also talk to Kim and Jessica as well about, where do we think cost wise for, are there other things that we need to factor into our budget requests?
Maybe even presenting the Jerry Plain alternative will scare them into being more interested in coming up with a way to keep it here. I scare them, but
Right, yeah.
Be an incentive,
Right.
because they probably would prefer for it to stay local.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's.
I also thought that, I think there are probably some families that walk here, and not a lot of people, but I think it is nice that it's right in town. I think I would prefer it to be here, but that makes sense. We need to, it not only takes a beating in here, but it also eats into programming during August and all that, so I think when Kim gets back, we should have a meeting, and then when is the workshop? I can look it up.
Yeah, so I think it's the second week
in September.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the 11th, that would be.
9/11.
Thanks,
Okay,
sorry.
yeah, anyway, yeah, that's
Yeah.
sorry.
Any other, oh, I have another youth committee, commission, youth, question. So this next week is teen night. And fire department is gonna come to do some games.
Okay,
So, we proposed. Somebody proposed that we do these pop-up barbecues, which we've only done a couple this year, but at the fire hall. And the idea was, we thought, well, we could invite the kids to come early and have something to eat.
mhm,
And then there's a bonfire later,
mhm.
so we could either invite them to come back for the bonfire. Or we could do it all at the hall. But then the issue is also raised that members bring their own alcohol to these
Oh.
events. And maybe that was not
The mix.
what parents would want their kids to be.
That's true, yeah. I don't know.
So I don't know if you think it's better to just keep it. Just doing the events here and not invite them to the food, or put out, and I don't know if we can even get the word out in
Yeah.
advance enough. I don't know if people have registered.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not sure. Haven't been super involved in teen night.
Okay.
Because Kim has been doing it with Rebecca.
Okay.
Um,
Want me to reach out to Rebecca?
yeah, maybe, and I can also do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you might be right. I don't know if that would be a concern for people.
So is the drinking is taking place during the bonfire or?
The
And
dinner.
during dinner,
And
both,
dinner.
both. I mean, and it's not, I mean, there's not extensive
It's not.
drinking or, right, exactly, but people will be drinking a beer with their dinner
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever, you know, so.
Fire and booze, what you're going on.
Hey, we're the fire department, we'll take care of it.
That's right.
I mean, maybe if it's just something where you tell people, like the parents of the teens, that that's
Mhm.
what's happening, and then they can choose
Right,
themselves.
They
You know.
also
Yeah.
feel better. What do you think?
I mean, not all town, sorry, not all, I feel like not all town things involve alcohol, so
Mhm.
I don't know that I would have I would have guessed that
But
that
Right.
would
people
be.
bring their own
Right.
coolers and drink with the.
I've never been to a pop-up
Right.
fire,
Yeah.
barbecue.
And the fact
but
is
I-
that you can't drink at the library, so they're used to that.
Right,
That's
right,
the
yeah.
standard.
Now we know what you've been doing wrong.
Exactly, that's true. It's true.
I mean, I
would
think,
Say we should not invite them to attend that because of the potential for alcohol. I
Okay.
would say telling the families about it, like, hey, if you're coming to teen night,
Oh,
there's
come
pop-up
after or
barbecue.
something.
There's a, pick your teen up later and go to the bonfire.
But it's
That
not
would
fun,
not-
it's not part of
Okay.
what I was organized, yeah.
Our event over there.
Okay,
I think also
Okay.
because the goal of teen night is to give them a safe, like.
right.
Alternative.
It's like the opposite of that, right?
But it is tricky, because obviously they're not gonna be given alcohol, but it's a fine line, I guess.
Right,
You're right, yeah,
okay,
makes sense.
okay,
But I agree that maybe saying, encouraging people to go after, come pick up your teen and then go over or something like that.
right. Okay. That sounds good. Thank you, thank you. Okay, any old business? No public, so no public comment, any new business? No correspondence this month? Unless anybody had anything,
I do have a question.
Yeah.
This thing about letting people that are working from home come here and working from home here, shouldn't that be just with phone calls and, because I mean, I know when I was working from home, there was a lot of phone calls, a lot of talking, a lot of,
I think,
you know, I mean, you have two screens going a lot of times, everybody has two screens now, so I'm assuming they would have to use our computers and then hook up or something.
no, I think people, sorry, my husband very much works from home, so I am very familiar with his. He would not be able to come because he's on calls all day, but I think there's a lot of people that don't do calls and they're just,
Yeah,
And
my
I think-
daughter works from home and, instead of sitting in her itty bitty studio apartment, she always goes to a cafe.
yeah.
And she got her, you know.
See,
her-
but in my job, they would not let me do that.
Mm.
When you work from home, it was very specific.
Yeah, I think things have changed a lot.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it would vary by person and.
Right, yeah, some
Be a
people would be
personal
appropriate
decision,
for,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean,
Explain.
I would know it on the phone and that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
But a lot of people aren't.
Mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
You'd have to explain what the.
Well, I-
But we would have to
Oh,
call.
that's not true.
Of having it during a time that the library is not normally open, or having it while the library is open and patrons are here.
So I think, I would think we were thinking when it would be open, just because we also probably couldn't support having an
Right,
additional hours of paying people, but
But
it could be in this, yeah.
With coffee available.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you make it available, it's you know, it's not like you're putting a whole lot of effort into having it available, and you
Yeah.
can either show up or they won't.
Right.
It's also one day a
And
week.
if you
for the
have
person.
butter with your bagels. you can even have it.
There you go.
If we had.
Sure, they're knocking down the door.
If you're like peanut butter and sesame.
But a lot, people can make calls from their car, they
Yeah.
can make call, you know, go outside if they do need to.
Yeah, it's really just to kind of give them a break from the tedium of being alone all the time.
You know,
My daughter, she's with me now, and she was thinking of riding the bike down here with her,
Mhm.
you know, with her computer over her back, just so she wasn't in my
Right,
house.
right.
Which, because my house gets reached out, everything about it does.
Is she gonna be here for a while?
Yeah,
Because Jen is doing a talk, a workshop on seeds, have her come on the 30th.
oh, okay. Okay,
Take a
I
meet,
don't,
that'd be
I don't
fun.
know if she's gonna be here for that much of a while, but we'll see.
It's not that far off, really.
Yeah,
but
Richard, you
yeah.
probably would be appalled at the time, I'm sorry, at the times that you've seen me in front of the sign that says no cell phone calls. On the cell phone in the library.
I mean, I know when my husband works from home, he's on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
okay? And when I work from home, I was on the phone quite often.
Yeah.
And it was 2 screens, it was very intrusive, you had printers going, you had all this stuff going,
Yeah,
so you literally had a whole office.
right. This is, I think, I could say, more for people who are like doing the more
my
quiet.
husband's an editor, he would love to get away from me, you know, one day a week.
Why do you think my husband's not gonna retire?
Say- yeah.
There's no way he's gonna retire. Never seen, you know, keeping up appearances.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I think this is one thing that you could do, where if it doesn't, nobody shows up. it's
Right, there's no,
okay.
right, exactly,
I-
right, low stakes.
It's-
Right,
We're
yeah.
all the same, so-
That's fine online, like, other libraries, sort of do's and don'ts of, you know, your remote day at the library, that stuff has to exist, like a list of rules to follow if you're coming to the library. That's
Yeah.
probably all.
I'll take a look before I work up the survey.
Just in general, it, not just libraries.
Right, in
There's-
general,
there's
right.
general workspace.
Right, for
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Cool.
So correspondence, none, new business, none, all the public comment, none.
Yep.
Old business, none.
Last call, old business, new business. Random thoughts.
going for it.
All right, can we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion. That's enthusiastic about that one.
I think we're all in
I'll take
agreement.
Sarah makes a
All right, looks like we're all in favor.
And it's 8:06.
Yeah,
Record break.
so that
So
said.
now we go, what makes the meetings take forever.